welcome everyone, and you are watching and perhaps listening to Calling the Audible, the flagship podcast, the granddaddy of them all. This is the official Division D podcast for the FPF Spring 2015 season. I'm joined in studio, of course, by my co-host GM Calethris. You can, of course, be followed at GM Cole44. How's it going, GM?
I'm doing okay.
Doing all right?
Yeah, very excited to be back.
Same. So you gone last week?
Yeah, I was gone last week. I had to work. And I feel worst about it because I didn't get to taunt you mercilessly for losing the Eagle.
Yes, I know. Luckily, Show Me Your TDs won this week, so I'm happy about that.
You weren't there.
I wasn't there. I was still happy. I'm still happy for my boys. I'm not GM Calethris. I'm a team player.
Okay.
I'm joined, of course, in the studio by our technical director, the Eagle at Master Control.
Can someone tell GM to put on a shirt? Maybe the ones brought to you by Sportira.
Remember, of course, if you haven't got your jersey yet, you can do so by ordering at Sportira, where, if it's in the game, it's in the cage. Mokan, who is at Mokan19, another non-team player, as he is not a company man. He can be followed, of course, at the Twitter handle I just listed. He is our producer for
and
this
followed to the bathroom.
Hey, don't do that.
No.
I went in just now, shortly after Mokan, after he abruptly interrupted the previous podcast. It's basically a war zone. It's a war zone for your senses.
Like next Friday, don't come to the bathroom for 45 minutes.
Yeah, just don't do it. Don't do it. Someone who didn't show up to the field
Or the bathroom.
with sticky hands.
Okay.
As, maybe they should have got to the bathroom. They won it 37-13. Jim, you've played against Jagerbomb, who beat Sticky Hands in this game. They have a plus-minus of 82. What impresses you the most, their offense or their D?
I think it has to be their offense. They're very, very good thus far. They mesh really well together. Simon Duchesne knows where his receivers are going to be at any given time. And the way he calls routes and reads the field, there is always someone open. If you look at the short zone, the mid zone, and the deep, there will always be more than one person for him to choose from. He calls routes that really benefit the style of play that he's good at, and he exploits defenses within the division.
The interesting thing is, as I was writing my division recap, I always look at to see who the best acquisition is for any given team. And for Jagerbomb, they don't have a player who has not previously played with Jagerbomb
In like 3 years. Like for the last...
Yeah, they have. Yeah, exactly.
Three seasons.
They have a. I think the guy who's played the least amount of seasons has played 3 seasons with Jagerbomb, which is an impressive feat in and of its own.
I think it's Jamil Ben Hamida.
Jamil Ben Hamida, and I believe Martin Jeanla, because he's missed a couple of seasons as well. But Simon Duchesne this season, he's thrown 31 touchdowns. He's thrown 32 touchdowns. The most he's ever thrown a season before this is 31 for the entire season. What can you attribute to the success? Is it perhaps steroids?
I don't think it is steroids. He's a relatively diminutive gentleman, not really massive, like not in the sense of like Keyshawn Thompson or more like someone that size.
Not to say, of course, that they're using performance-enhancing drugs.
No, not at all. That being said, I think it has to do, with a little bit more of discrepancy in the division. Like we've talked about how there's teams at the top and then the rest. And the fact that he's just come off of a final season where they made it to the finals in Division 5. So he knew what worked for him. They surprised a lot of teams. They went on a Cinderella run, if you may. And with that, he's definitely taken what worked from that and is trying to recreate it.
Let's not forget, and you made the point, Cinderella run last season. It turned around for them when they were 0-2 last winter season, and this went on a run. And they eventually lost in the finals. Could have won it, lost in the second half here. They've been sky-high confidence-wise, and it's shown on the football field this year and even last year when they were on that run.
Sticky Hands were confident in the first game. They won it and then lost the next 5. They've been blown out in 3 of them. What do you think the issue is here?
I think, firstly, the issue is personnel. They need to field a roster of 6 or more from week to week. That's definitely important. Alexis Labonte is a very, very good player. He's a very smart player, knows the league well. He's played with Kevin Lubin. He's played with higher division players and has brought that down with him to the quarterback position. He just needs to be more consistent. Part of that does have to do with having the same guys show in, week out. That's probably the most underrated thing that they can do right now to change. But just get a little bit more familiarity. understand, maybe watch some of their old game films, see what worked for them in the past, and work from there.
And just to point out to your point, GM, only 6 players have played 5 games or more this season for Sticky Hands, who are typically a roster of like 9-10 players.
And not only that, though, their last 4 games have not scored over 20 points.
Yeah. There's some definite issues for them to figure out.
In the game against the Jägerbaum, they started catching up towards the second half. They started matching the output of Jägerbaum, but it was too little too late, considering they had a 4-and-out, they had an interception that really cost them early on, especially
So they were
playing
sort of essentially trading score for score when they needed to make stops and to turn the game around. Absolutely. And a team that has turned their season around after having lost an early game is 5-star prospects. They beat Hot Boys Hotline this one, 32-19. Has the lack of scoring for Hot Boys Hotline finally caught up with them?
Yes. I'm surprised it took this long.
Yeah.
The team is 4-2 with a plus-minus of what, 3?
About, yeah.
4-2 with a plus-minus of 3. The math is terrible right there.
And I don't think they've scored more than 3 touchdowns in the game.
Let's not forget Eagle, our very own Eagle,
They
is
did score
playing.
4 once, my mistake.
Eagle's playing in 2 games at once Sunday night in Lachine.
Until he got booted off of my field by me.
He did a great job.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
That's fair. In this one here, we see 5-star prospects offense looks better each week. What do you think they've done to improve so quickly?
It's just basically the learning curve for Jordan Moses right now. He is a solid, I mentioned it before, he's a solid team of supporting cast. He just needs to get more familiar with the position. What I would like to see is taking his time with his reads, fewer incompletions. I think he completed half of his passes, maybe even less than half of his passes this week. Maybe take that down to a minimum, take fewer attempts, but also trust your reads a little bit more instead of rushing the ball out.
11 of 19 for 126 yards passing, 3 TDs and 1 INT.
Okay, 11 for 19, so a little bit more than 50%,
Yeah.
but still iffy.
That's fair. Is there a guy on 5-star prospects that you need to shut down to win? Who is it, and how do you do it?
Besides Jeremy Anderson, and how do you do it?
Yeah. So Jeremy Anderson,
Yes.
and how do you shut down
So,
Jeremy
I mean,
Anderson?
besides, because we mentioned Jeremy Anderson almost week in, week out, because he's such a high caliber player, especially for this division. I think you need to put someone on him who is very physical and quick and can interrupt the routes that Jeremy runs so well. He runs his routes very crisp, uses his body to box out defenders, and you need someone who's equally physical against him to really shut that down.
By the way, Jeremy Anderson, as Eagle has pointed out to me, had a highlight grab to put his team in the lead just before the first half ended.
Excellent. Junkyard Dogs took on Wolfpack and beat them 25-18, their first win. But still, we see Jason Rossi having thrown 2 interceptions. How can he cut down his mistakes to see even greater success?
This is almost the opposite of the Jordan Moses problem, whereas I feel that it's not the incompletions. I feel he seems to have a bit of tunnel vision. Jason Rossi has a habit of throwing deep and really fixating on one receiver and attacking that one receiver, using it to exploit a potential defensive mismatch. However, when it's not there, it works really, really badly for him. Mm-hmm. I think he needs to spread the ball more effectively. We saw in earlier seasons, they were when they were Golden Girls, he would tend to spread the ball a little bit more. He would favor his center over any of his other players and not have to worry about those deep bombs. With this now, defenses are starting to catch on. He's starting to play higher caliber defense than previously, and they start to key on it, and they key on it faster. So spread the ball around. Start to use your center a little bit more, because honestly, centers are almost wasted commodity in FPF as long as you're not peas.
You should throw your center all the time. Just like every second play.
Tell Mike you
Especially when
should do
I
that this
score
week.
keep.
I should tell. In fact, I tell Mike on a daily basis.
Okay. But specifically this week.
Any week, because there's no one on your team that can cover. So, that being said, Patrick Shahada played this week for Junkyard Dogs. What does he add to the defense?
Physicality, size, football experience, both in FPF and off the FPF field. He's a big guy, a very motivating force for his team as well. He has the potential to shut down A receivers and really change the pace of a game. So he needs to show up to more games.
Fair. And then we see for Wolfpack, they actually featured JC Mercier in this game.
Mercil.
An FPF Mercil, sorry.
No, it's fine. I said that for like a season straight before.
I've been still saying it. It's, and you've corrected me in the past. But JC Mercil, he was picked up literally off the FPF wall, off the Facebook group. He came in, had 8 catches, but Wolfpack did only feature 6 players, and one of those players was Darren Basmajan, who had to play offense in this game. This isn't a roster, I think, that can.
Well, it goes without saying that there's a reason why JC was picked up, and they were short guys. So Terry at the last second had to pick someone to fill in. I think he just lucked out that probably one of the most underrated centers in all of FPF, not in Div D, in all of FPF, answered the call. There's a reason I play with him in Division C. He's very cap friendly, has great football awareness, and just runs impeccable routes. So I think it may be cause for Terry to think about in the future. I know that he has Jean-Marc Metivier, who is his normal center, but just for future seasons, like having someone of that caliber to firstly get a quicker snap to him, and to add as a.
And that's such an underrated skill, getting the ball to quarterback quickly and in the hands. Like, I mean, this is something none of your quarterbacks have ever experienced, obviously, getting the ball in the hands, but I agree. It's a skill that's completely underrated, and Mercil is amongst the best at just firing it and putting the right
This
spot.
gives you so much time. It gives you so much time when you get that ball so quickly.
Absolutely.
Not just that, he's also a center who's capable of running fantastic deep routes, corners, quick outs, flies, and it doesn't sacrifice the quality of his snaps either.
Absolutely, and we'll take a quality break and make sure that we're ready for our next segment, where we will talk about some team awards and maybe go through some picks for the week.
Calling the Audible has been brought to you by the English Montreal School Board's DEAL program. Distance education for all learners will allow you to obtain your high school diploma or prerequisites for CEGEP or vocational studies from the comfort of your own home. It's never too late to go back to school. Learn anywhere at your own pace and get your diploma. Call 514-788-5937 for information, or visit www.distanted.ca for more details.
Welcome back, everyone. I momentarily forgot that I was the host of the show and waited for Mokan to say something.
Thank you.
There we go. That's my cue. Welcome, everyone.
He's met his quota for the day.
You're back to listening to and watching Calling the Audible. I'm joined, of course, as I am weekly, by Jim Calethris, who's now saving me from having. I had to do the show with Simon Dagenet last week, so I'm so happy you're back. You can, of course, follow GM at GMCole44. If you want to tweet us live, you can tweet our technical director, the Eagle on Master Control, at EagleFPF, or you can tweet our producer, Mokan himself, at Mokan19. GM, this is the time of year where a lot of us will talk about sort of the mid-season All-Star Awards. We did it on a few of the other podcasts tonight, but I felt in such a large division, let's look at some of the teams. We still have time to talk about players, but
especially as the race will grow closer, you'll see start of the standout players who are within one or two touchdowns of each other. That's when it gets to be fun.
Exactly. And for now, let's look at some of the team awards. So let's look at most impressive team. And I don't mean the best team. I'm like, Warhawks obviously have come in, have a great record. They may or may not be the most impressive team, but I will say, in terms of the team that's made the greatest impression on you, the team that you did not expect to be as successful and is playing to a much higher level than you expected.
Well, there are two teams right now that kind of stand out. We've talked about both of them to a certain degree, just how puzzling it is that we expected them to do not poorly, but not to this caliber. Tyrants, first of all, who we've talked about week in, week out,
that was my
have
pick.
Really turned up their game. Hot Boys Hotline as well. I mean, former Div E team with a quarterback who throws as many interceptions as touchdowns are still managing to stay competitive week in, week out in Div D. So those two right away, especially with Conference A being a little bit tighter than Conference B are my two.
MK, do you have anyone for this?
Yeah,
category?
backyard bullies. I know this team is 5-1 right now. They have a big day with the Warhawks, Week 9 later on in the season, and I think the way they've been able to transition from winter season with what they had to what they have now. Brian Mongeau coming on the football team, looking like he's not lost a beat with his team. They've really impressed me. I've watched them the most in this division this year, so I'm quite impressed by what they've done up till now.
That's fair. So what's the most disappointing team? Again, not necessarily the worst team, but the team that's been the greatest disappointment to you.
As of right now, there aren't that many that stand out to me. I did have high hopes for Wolfpack with their off-season additions as well. Currently having a 1-win season. Junkyard Dogs as well. A lot more. It's always hard to see seasoned teams sort of regress. Mm-hmm. So if you had to ask me, it's any of the sub 500 teams who are capable of far more.
DG Goons.
DG Goons.
That was my pick, actually.
They're riding the ship. However, they've added Steve Sanner,
Yeah.
who is a huge addition to this roster.
Absolutely.
Also, another team that surprised me was Diablos. Diablos, I know we're off topic here, but Diablos was a team that we didn't think would be even, like, we saw that they were a Div 6 team. We didn't even think they would be competitive in Div E. They're in Div D. They've made some quality off-season pickups, and they're really poised to do some damage.
Absolutely. For me, that was mine, Mokan. You kind of took the momentum out of my sails a little bit. Momentum. But I'm also say Global Gym Purple Cobras. It's a team I thought the core was strong enough to do well, even though Eric Marino's in his first season at quarterback. I'm also going to say show me your TDs, because obviously no one joins a team expecting to go 2-4. So there, boys, step it up. That being said, overall, I think we've seen a lot of what we expected from teams. The teams we expect to do well have done that, and the teams we expect to struggle have done that, except for a couple of the ones that we talked about in the previous part of this segment. Now, the best offense, I don't want to just look at points, although I'll give you some options here and list the points scored, but I want to talk about best offense in terms of which offense you think can excel at the next level in the playoffs. There's the Warhawks having scored 250 points, Jägerbaum 212, and formerly teamless at 185.
I think
Those
you
are
forgot
top
a formula there.
Probably.
There's the possibility. Definitely, the Warhawks right now are a powerhouse, so I think we need to include them in everything that we do. Those of you who know me know I don't like talking about my team a lot, but one thing I will say about my team is that it's not a very receiver-centric team. If you see touchdowns are spread amongst Khalil Kirk, Quays Gordon-Mall, myself, Sam Hansen, Alex Lamarche, essentially Francois Deslauriers. Essentially, there's more players with touchdowns than you can have on the field at once.
I just want to point out who the quarterback was for formerly teamless, John Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Do I get credit for that?
What about?
Do I get credit for John Brown being a part of formerly teamless?
So wait, if formerly teamless win a championship, does Mo
Mo
Khan get credit?
Yeah.
I believe so.
The team that I think that is overhyped is the Warhawk team. Look who they've beaten so far. Blue Devils, a team that has not been able to field a regular roster the last couple of weeks here. You look at Les Affreux, they're not as good as they once were. Global Gym Purple Cobras, they've been up and down. In reality, the real test for them for their offense will come up, as made the point before, where they will play the backyard bullies.
And
these nuts,
as well.
exactly.
That will lead into the next question. But
Absolutely. And so my next question is the best defense. Some of the ones I've noticed, of course, formerly teamless, again, having allowed only 94 points. Hot Boys Hotline having won games solely on the backs of defense, with 111 points allowed. And Gotham Knights at 105, as well as many others. These nuts being another example of a defense, not necessarily with the least amount of points allowed, but they have a game-breaking type defense that will take chances, give up some touchdowns, but also make huge plays as well. GM, who's the most impressive defense to you thus far?
I think for their plus minus, I know their schedule has a little bit to do with it as well. They've been kind of up and down. Tomahawk Nightmare have a very, very solid defense. I mean, former Division One defender JF Marquis knows how to bestow that knowledge upon his other players. I mentioned D's Nuts as well. I think they're the only team right now that, like, they're a 4-2 team, and they have a better plus minus and bit more points put up than some 5-1 teams. So that definitely goes without saying.
Okay.
Look, I've seen the Warhawks play. I mean, they've given up a lot of points, though. Tomahawk Nightmare, pardon me. They've given up a lot of points to the Warhawks, 46 in a losing cause. I mean, I wonder, this team, though, will they implode? They've always imploded as we get closer and closer towards playoffs, and once they hit the playoffs, forget about it. They always lose in an early round matchup here. So I'm not too sure about the Tomahawk Nightmare with their defense. So I think right now it's still an open-ended question. If you come back to me in week 9 or week 10, I can give you a better answer by then.
For me, I like Gotham Knights. Every player on that defense is capable of making a big play, so that's the one I point to. GM, I have a question for you. When you walk in to get your hair cut, styled, and so on, do you show up with like a name of a haircut, a very accurate description, or a picture?
More often than not, I'll go with description first, then picture, and if I really want to get the point across, I'll Google what the name of the haircut is and then put it in. But
does Mo Khan show up with a picture of Cinderella for his haircuts?
No, I don't.
All right,
I'm not clear.
But which team is best poised to make
Fade
a
in a
Cinderella run?
Which team is best poised? I honestly think that it's going to be these nuts. In Conference B right now, there's so much talk about the Warhawks. They've been stomping teams. I don't think that, despite the fact that they're a team that have higher division, they have players, they're all contact players, they're all players who know football. That being said, I don't think that they've been tested up till now, as Mo has alluded to before. Their Week 9, Week 10 matchups, backyard bullies, these nuts will be a bit more of an indicator. At the same time, these nuts have the experience, both in playoffs and in finals. They're a very solid receiving core and defense, and historically, Mo can back me up on this one. With aside from, say, teams like the Warriors in Division 4, years and years ago, winner 2011, it's very rare that a team that goes 10-0 wins out. History is actually not on the side of the Warhawks. They really do have a lot more to prove.
I know that from personal experience. However, I don't consider these nuts to be sort of Cinderella story. They're 4-2 now. They've got a stacked roster. I look at the Alpha T's, a team none of us expected to
The Tats.
to really have done really have done well early on. They're 3-3 so far. They have a 32 plus minus, and I think that, I don't know if they'll win the championship, but I think they have enough to make a serious run and up some teams in the playoffs.
Crimson Tide as well. They're a team right now with a sub 500 record. They're 2-4, but they have all the players and pieces in place to really turn that around, and that worries me because I play them Week 10.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's get into some picks for this coming week. We have Tyrants going against 5-star prospects. GM, give me a sort of a pick and then a couple sentences as to why.
This one really surprises me because, as we've mentioned before, the Tyrants are sort of playing like they've never played before. That being said, 5-star prospects lead their division right now. I think it's going to come down to defense. The 5-star prospects, DBs and safeties are stronger than the Tyrants' offense. However, Phil Djokovic
Nice.
will be a thorn in the side of Jordan Moses. Jordan's going to have a lot less time to roll out. He's not going to be able to make those runs as often as he has in the past, and I don't think he's faced a rusher of this caliber before. So that being said, I'm going to go with Tyrants on this one in a close game.
All right, Wolfpack, part of my swag.
Right now, I think that Pardon My Swag are in a sort of rebuilding phase, and depending on who Wolfpack field, even if they're back to the base roster, if they have J.C. Mercill again, either way, I can see Wolfpack doing it.
Diablos, Bronx Bombers.
This is a really difficult one because from what I've been seeing, the Diablos start off weak. They sometimes make a couple of changes, whether it's a quarterback change to Luis Bégin or just how they line up their defense or how they call their offense, and they tend to come back in the second half and deliver. That being said, Bronx Bombers are a very, very talented squad. James Nowakowski is getting better and better every week, and that defense is scary, to be honest.
That's fair.
So I'm going to go with Bronx Bombers on this one.
Hooligans, Global Gym, Purple Cobras.
Hooligans recently have made a change at the quarterback position. They have Avieillon in the place of Chris Olsen. I had such big expectations, as you did for Global Gym Purple Cobras. I want them to succeed. They're a fun bunch of guys to watch. I think this might be the time for them. And it's not just because my heart wants it.
These nuts against Jagerbomb.
Ooh. That's honestly, if there was a game of the week, I think this would be the game of the week for
it'd be
Dipty. I'm going to do my best to see this game because I think it's going to come down to the wire. But I actually think that these nuts are going to pull the upset on this one.
And the game that only one person here can pick, and that's Mo Khan.
That's correct.
Show
Eagle
me
as well. Eagle as well. And we
sure.
need more details on this. Eagle, can you be there to live tweet the game Sunday night?
Really? You want your defeat to be live tweeted?
Yes, I do.
Well, that's like having someone live tweet your funeral.
Yeah, I think I can do that.
Also, can I get a ride?
No, say yes, because that means he'll be drinking en route.
Nice.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. Yeah. This is
Mo
happening.
Khan, so show me your TDs formerly teamless.
Like
This isn't 2012. It's formerly.
I know. Show Me TD's won, and Mike Don finally got that big W this year. But I think formerly teamless is a far better team, more balanced attack, and I take credit for it because Jim asked for my opinion. I gave him my 2 cents, and look what
So
happened.
technically, Mo Khan can't pick this game either because if you win a championship, Mo Khan gets a vicarious
As a
credit.
GM of
Which is fine.
GM's team,
Yeah,
give me the formerly
preseason. I
teamless.
went to Mokan with some input on the roster. I asked him, "How do you see us proceeding with this way compared to this?" Mokan gave me his 2 cents. It's worked out swimmingly thus far. I'm very happy with it.
As a consultant of the team.
As a consultant,
Executive consultant.
So if formerly teamless wins against you guys, and I gave you a lift piece, do I get a championship?
You might. Eags, what's your pick?
Honestly, I have to give it to T. This is going to be a landslide crushing by 3 scores.
All right, we'll see. Sticky hands versus Les Affreux.
Les Affreux have this one. They started off a little bit more inconsistent and had difficulty finding the rhythm, but now they're starting to be the Affreux of old, and I like that. So I'm going to go with them.
All right, Backyards Bullies against Bromigos. I pluralized every syllable in that sentence.
Backyards, bullies against...
Yeah, against Bromigos.
Well, we are in Anjou right now.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I really like Backyard Bullies thus far. Rich Humes has a lot of talent. We mentioned Brian Mongeau as well, really stepping up on this team and filling a void of a couple missing players from seasons past. So I can see them doing damage here. Bromigos made that smart quarterback change, have been doing well ever since, but they're unable to close out games, and I think that it's going to be tough against Backyard Bullies.
Hot Boys Hotline and Gotham Knights.
Oh, this is going to be an ugly game. I know Bryden Streeter is out thus far for Hot Boys Hotline. Is he poised to return?
Yeah, he's back. He was on vacay.
He's also hurt, though.
Sort of.
Okay, sort of.
Listen, there's nothing like a Vegas gentleman's club to help you recover from an injury.
Very true. However,
Or Father's Day.
Same.
that just
I don't know
begs
what you
further
do for
questions.
Father's Day.
Yeah. I know that most of the people at a Vegas nightclub have daddy issues, but that's neither here nor there. And I think the Gotham Knights are going to win this because they're a little bit more talented. They're a little bit more of a deeper squad. And I think Chris Rive has seen different kinds of defenses and can adapt far better than Tom Gatehouse.
Will Blue Devils get their first win against Les Aigles?
I'll say this: no.
and why is that, Mocha?
No.
They had to have guys from Top Citizens come play for them in their loss on Tuesday. They're essentially there were more replacements on that roster Tuesday night.
There was a lot of guys missing that were working that day.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes, however, if they can keep those guys from top season, that could be more cause for success. So I almost wouldn't blame that. I would almost encourage it when you have a quarterback who has a whole bunch of new receivers who don't know what they're doing. If you bring in 1 or 2 players who have that experience, it makes the difference. It's how you elevate a subpar team to an average team. It doesn't mean that they're going to be great.
So who
but
wins?
The average. Not Blue Devils.
Les Aigles, okay.
Yes.
Tomahawk Nightmare against Junkyard Dogs.
Tomahawk Nightmare. Jason Rossi pulled off his first win this season, and it was a 1-point win against an undermanned team of Wolfpack in which Darren Basmajan played offense.
Can the Alpha T's upset the Warhawks?
No. We're really happy with what they've done thus far. They've surprised a lot of people. However, that in mind, they're not on caliber with the Warhawks yet. The Warhawks are going to need a team who plays perfect football. They don't have to be the best athletes. They just need to play perfect football. They need the chemistry and the ability to go toe-to-toe with them and hope for that one magical turn.
Fair. Crimson Tide take on Das Ghetto Goons. That's what I stands for.
That took a couple. It's NDG. You know that, right?
Yeah, I understand what I said.
Das Ghetto. I think that Chris Pendenza isn't really trusting his reads as much. There's drops that are really affecting this team, and it's starting to weigh down on them. They've made those personnel changes. I really want them to see success just like they have in the past. James Jaslowski was at the field and played last week. He's been one of the faces that was missing, but there every so often. That in mind, I don't see that DG Goons winning this one, especially considering Crimson Tide are on the up and up.
All right, really quickly, we're going to go out of bounds with GM Calethris. Quickly, are pocket squares absolutely necessary?
They're not absolutely necessary unless you want to look awesome.
Awesome. Tell people why they can't wear the Insidious pocket card.
I don't know what that means.
It's like a card that you wear instead of pocket square. It's like pre-folded and.
Do you tape a tie to your shirt?
Exactly. That's exactly my point. Mokan, would you ever be caught wearing the pocket square card?
Absolutely not.
It's absolutely terrible.
I think it's even too much that people have like a pocket square that's sewn into the blade.
No, that's just dumb.
Like, how do you mix and match?
No, you just have to buy more suits that way. Simon Dagenet showed his hatred for Oxblood shoes. Why should every man own a pair?
They look really, really, really good. They're a way for you to stand out from the crowd. And Simon can hate, but he shows up wearing black like it's a funeral.
That's true. That's
You
true.
wore purple.
But he wore a black blazer, black suit.
That's true.
The,
He's worn that shirt a few times now, actually.
I think that's the only shirt he has.
Yeah, I think so too.
That being said, what type of shoe would you recommend to rock the Oxblood?
Definitely, I know Oxblood, Oxford. It would be an Oxford, though, a traditional lace-up. You'd want to pair it with something either navy blue or gray. So either navy blue pants, which looks really, really good because of the contrast, or gray because gray looks good with everything.
I love it with gray, and I love them, again, as Oxfords, and specifically wingtips are particularly awesome. Swingline, best stapler?
I like the Stanley Bosch. You can get a little bit more oomph out of it. It can handle more papers that are stuck together all at once. I think you really need something that's a bit more heavy duty.
You guys really work at an office.
Which should their next innovation be?
What should their next innovation be? I've actually seen automatic staplers where you just place it under and it does it without...
Will this have a role in time travel?
No, but it's along the right lines.
Final thoughts?
Final thoughts? I see Darren.
MK, final thoughts?
I don't see Darren.
All right. And with that, I'm going for one this week, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Sasha Papic. He was hurt. I know he's not a TV player. He had a severe injury. Spent over a week in a hospital. He's supposed to be getting released today from what I've heard from his teammates. I really hope nothing for the best for him. I hope he recovers quickly. There isn't a nicer guy in the world, and it's terrible to see him suffer such injury. So Sasha, from all of us here from the FTF media team, get well quick. FTF is not the same without you. Thank you, GM, for all you've done today. Thank you, MK.
Thank you for keeping the delay in check when I had to go.
That's what I did. Eags, thanks for making us look as pretty as you always do. And of course, thank you all for letting me be myself.